Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this session to where we're going to learn how to get started with Microsoft Teams. Now, before we begin, I want to go over some very important meeting controls. Now, here you notice that you have the play and pause icon. So if you need to pause the event for any reason, maybe go and get a drink of water. So you can come back and play right where you left off. This session is going to be recorded, and you'll be able to access this recording for 90 days using the same link that you used to join us today. Right next to the play and pause icon, you have the sound here to where you can adjust the volume. So make sure you can hear me loud and clear. If you toggle here where the CC icon is, you can turn on the live captions for this session. And right next to that, the closed caption, you have the gear icon to where you can adjust the video quality. You can choose right next to this icon here to make this session full screen. But if you do take it full screen, I want you to keep in mind that you won't be able to see the Q&A box that we have for you here. And the Q&A box is where you'll be able to interact with our moderators during this session, who are there to make sure you to take any questions that you have or any redemonstration requests. So you're able to type your question here. You can use your name with the question, or you can post as anonymous and use the paper plane icon to send your question. And again, one of my moderators will be more than happy to make sure that your questions are handled. Now, once again, we want to welcome you to get started with Microsoft Teams. This is an introductory course where we're going to show the fundamentals to navigate, meet, and start having conversations within Microsoft Teams. So I'm just going to introduce you to who you'll be interacting with today. Now, my name is Derek. I'm going to be presenting today's session, and I have four fantastic moderators with me. I have Sarah, Yamelsi, Alberto, and Rudy. We are all training associates at Microsoft at the New York Hub, and very excited to be with you today. So let's go over today's agenda. So we're going to learn to navigate Microsoft Teams. We're going to learn how to send a chat message, understand Teams and channels, create and join a meeting, and locate our files in Teams. As we work through times of change, it's become clear that our technology solutions must keep up with the times as well. We thrive in hybrid work where we can easily connect, collaborate, and stay in the flow of work with full context. Microsoft Teams is a flexible digital workspace that brings together people and their data, apps, and features all in one place so everyone can achieve more together. So we're able to connect naturally by using the call, chat, and share video from one place. Collaborate your way, meaning you can create, share, and exchange ideas with shared documents and content. And stay in the flow, meaning you can stay focused and organized with all the apps and features you need at your fingertips. So, what is Microsoft Teams? The answer is Microsoft Teams is the all in one app for working together. Think about what you do at work on a day to day basis. You talk with coworkers, go to meetings, place calls, work on documents. Maybe you write reports, work on budgets, analyze data, manage projects, design publications. And as part of a business unit in various work groups, you're reviewing announcements and updates that are for the whole team. Microsoft Teams is part of Microsoft 365 and it's designed to be your central access to communication and collaboration. You can connect with people inside or outside your network, again, using chat, calls, meetings, and screen sharing. You can collaborate on files. You can easily access your favorite tools and services, and you can streamline project management and workgroup collaboration. After today's session, you will be able to communicate with your coworkers, save time while working and collaborating in teams, and see how teamwork and projects can be managed in a central space. You will learn the top 5 things to know to get started with Microsoft Teams. And that's to set up your profile, send a chat, schedule and join a meeting, use Teams and channels, and find your files. All right, so now we're going to get to the live demonstration portion of the session. And if you'll just give me a quick second, I just need to reshare my screen. All right, and for today, I'm going to be using the virtual machine using a Windows 10 environment, and I'm going to be using a demonstration account by the name of Adele Vance, who works for a fictional company called Contoso. And I just wanted to take a quick pause and confirm with one of my moderators that you can see my screen.
You are all good, Derek.
Thanks, Rudy. All right, so now we're going to be using the desktop version of Teams today. Now, some of the features that you see today will be available in the web version and some of them will not. But again, we're going to be using the desktop version. And this is the team interface here. So we're just going to navigate this. So now here at the top right, you have your profile information and where you can adjust your status. Next here, you have the three-dot ellipsis menu where you can see settings and more options. And anytime that you see a three-dot ellipsis menu, that always means that you have more options in a Microsoft 365 product. Here you have your very powerful and intuitive search bar. Here you have what we call the left rail. I'm just going to go over quickly the left rail icons, such as your activity, which is your notification feed, chat, calendar, teams and channels, and files. And the thing about the icons on your left rail is that you can actually take these and move these to your preference. So maybe I'll move the teams here to the bottom, move the calendar here. You notice that each time I click an icon, you have this section here, which is called the left panel organization. And this is where you'll see the content. And then next to the left panel organization, you have your main content area, also known as the We space. So here, I'm going to toggle up to the profile area. Click my profile here, and you see you have Adele Vance, as I mentioned, and Adele's work credentials. Now, Teams uses your digital identity within Microsoft 365. For example, when a meeting in Outlook sets a user to busy, it will also show this in Teams. And this will appear as a red dot next to your profile photo. Now, as you can see in this example here, the profile, the dot is green, showing that Adele is available. If I needed to change that for any reason, I can do that easily here, where it says available and there's a drop down. I'm going to click on that drop down, and you see where I can change my status to busy, be right back, appear offline, and I can use do not disturb. Now, the thing about do not disturb, if you were to have your status on do not disturb, it's going to mute your notifications. Here, I can set a status message. And I'm just going to go back quickly because what I forgot to mention is that you can use this great feature here, the duration. So if you're someone like myself who will set your status to away and maybe go on a 1 hour lunch and maybe forget to change it back to available, you can have Teams automatically do that after a certain time period. So like, for example, I can change the status to appear away and reset the status after 1 hour, 2 hours, or I can customize it to get a time and date. I'll choose that to change to 1 hour. Get done. What I'm also going to do is set a status message to let my colleagues know. If they were to hover over my profile photo, they'll see my contact card, which I'll show you an example of that in a moment. So I'm going to set the status message here, and I'll say away at lunch. Please contact. And you're able to use the @ mention feature similar to social media to tag one of your colleagues. So I'll say, please contact Alex for emergencies. And you see here, just similar to that duration, I can have that reset after a certain time. So I'll just use the 1 hour. And we're going to choose where it says done to set that status. Alex will then get a message in his notification feed letting him know that I did tag him in this status message here. And as the status is up, you notice I have it says display until 12:10, which will be 1 hour after I've just set it. I can either edit the status message or I can just delete it altogether. So I just wanted to use that for the example, so I'm just going to delete that. And I'm going to change her back to available. From here, I'm going to toggle over to the 3-dot ellipsis menu and click my settings. And we're just going to go over some general settings. So first we have the theme. And for today's example, we're using the default theme for Microsoft Teams. However, you can change that theme to dark mode if you're in a low light area. And I'll just kind of go at it so you can see what that looks like in dark mode. I'm going to toggle back to the settings. And you have the high contrast. I'm just going to close so you can see what that looks like. Now, high contrast mode, this is a great accessibility feature because it enhances color contrast and it can help you to see text and items better on the screen, also making it less straining on your eyes. You see that here? Again, we're going to toggle back up to the settings. And like I said, we're just going to change that back to the default. From here, I'm going to toggle down to the notifications tab. And just kind of modify some quick notifications here for the chat. I'm going to go to the middle here, and you see right in the middle of that, our chat area. I'm going to click where it says edit. And you see you have 3 different options here for the chats. So that at mention, like I was able to do an example of Alex, at mentioning Alex with my status message, I can choose to show that as a banner. And a banner will just show at the bottom right, pop up for about a minute or so. And the notification feed. Or I can choose to only show that in the activity feed. For my messages that I get, my chat messages, I can choose to have that as a banner, or I can just turn those off altogether. And for likes and reactions, I can choose to show that only in the activity feed. I can have that in the banner and feed, or I can turn that off altogether. So I like the settings that I have here, so I'm just going to keep them as they are. That only show in feed. Toggle back to the setting. And the last setting I wanted to mention here, if we toggle from notifications, we're going to go just up 1 to privacy. And this is where you can manage priority access while you're in Do Not Disturb. You remember when I mentioned earlier that when you're in Do Not Disturb, it's going to mute all of your notifications unless you have people in your priority access. So you see here, I have Alex, Alan, and Deborah. So anytime that I'm in Do Not Disturb, their messages and notifications will still come through to me. I can modify this, like I can take Deborah off this list or just add her back on. I can just simply just start typing her name. You get some top hits of people that are in your organization. And I'm going to add Deborah back to that priority access. All right, so now those were the settings that I wanted to go over. So I'm just going to get out of the settings by clicking the X here on the top right. And now we're going to toggle over to the left rail. And again, you have your notification feed here. You have your chat. So what I'm going to do is just start a quick chat with a coworker of mine. Now you see here on the left rear of the left panel organization, you have some recent chats that you were a part of. And just to kind of show you the difference in chats, you have the one-on-one where you can see your colleague's profile photo. If you hover your mouse, you see their contact card. And from here, you can send a quick message. You can give them a quick call. You can see their status, if they're available or not. You have the meeting chats, which show up for any time that you have a meeting, which we'll explore a little further later. And you have your group chats where you'll see more than one profile photo. So I'm just going to start a quick chat with one of my colleagues here. Now I can simply click on Alex's name. If Alex wasn't in my left panel organization, again, I can use the search bar at the top to search for this person. And again, you get some top hits. Just going to send a quick chat. Hey, Alex. Great to see you. And from here, I can use the enter key to send my message. Now you see that, you notice that you see the icon here in the three-dot ellipsis menu to indicate that my colleague is typing. And thank you, Alex, so much for pointing out that great feature. You see how Alex was able to tag me using the add feature. You hover over my name here, the Adele name. You can see Adele's contact card. And then I'm going to hover over the message, and you see you have some icons here to where you can react. So I'm going to love this. And what I can do is reply to a specific message, which works really great in a group chat, which we'll again explore later. So here you see the three-dot ellipsis menu. You have the more options. And I'm going to hover over this message that says, hope you're doing well. Click on that and reply to this. You see that original message is in my chat box. And I'll just type, I am indeed. Thank you. And hit enter to send. Now, what I'm also going to do is send a different message. I'm going to attach a file. And I'll say, can you help me with this file? Now, before I send this, I wanted to point out that you have some formatting options. So you click that icon here to format the text. Now, once you click format, you won't be able to use the enter key to send any longer. The enter key will now work like a return, where you'll get a new tab. And from here, you can see where you can bold the text, italicize it, underline. Oops, sorry, I copied that by accident. Maybe I'll just underline the word file. Next to the format icon, you have the delivery option to where you can keep this as a standard message. I can change this to an important message. And I'm going to just show that just so you can see what it looks like. And here you have the urgent. However, with urgent, you want to be wary of using this for only in case of emergencies, because you notice how it says recipient notified every 2 minutes for 20 minutes. And that can be distracting if that person is working on something. I'm going to keep this at important. And I'm going to use this paper plane icon next to it to attach a file. And I'll just use an example file for my OneDrive. I'll say, use this document here. Share. And from here, I'm going to send this message using that paper plane icon on the bottom. So now you see the difference between messages. You see that Alex will be able to see that this is an important message because of this exclamation point icon here at the top right of that message. And then from here, I can just do a quick ad hoc one-on-one call Like I can use this icon here to make a quick phone call, audio call rather, or a video call. Now, because I'm using a virtual machine today, I don't have access to a camera. So that's why you see that it's grayed out at the moment. Thank you, Alex. And then I'm just going to let Alex know I'll ask our team members, excuse me, for more help. And now from here, what I can do is use this icon here at the top right to where it's, if I hover my mouse, you notice it says add people. I'm just going to add a few of our coworkers into this chat here and start typing in names. So I'll type in Alan. And again, you see some top hits come up from the organization. Alan. I'll also include Deborah and Christy. I'm going to add them, and this is going to turn into a group chat. And now you see this group chat. We have the draft here in our left panel organization. I've never had a chat with them before. And I'm just going to send a message saying, hey, team, Alex was helping me with this, but I could use more help. Thank you. I'm going to use this as an important message. And I'm going to attach the file. That same file that I was able to send Alex in the one-on-one chat. Send that here. I'm going to hit enter. And now I have a group chat with all of my colleagues here. I can use this edit icon. I can actually name this group chat. So I'll use it and I'll say, this can be a Tuesday morning group chat. I can add files from here, like maybe add an Excel spreadsheet for the team. And I'll just give them a quick note. Thank you all so much. Now, I feel like these two chats are going to be two chats that I'm going to interact with very often. So I can actually pin these chats to make them easy to find for me. How I do that, I'll hover over, like first I'm going to start with Alex with his one-on-one message. I'm going to go to the three-dot ellipsis menu. And I can pin that. And now you see this appears, the pin messages. I'm going to also pin this Tuesday morning group chat. And you can pin up to 15 messages. 15 chats you can pin. All right, so I know that that was quite a bit of information that we went over. So here, I want to take a quick pause, check in with one of my moderators to see if there are any questions in the chat or anything that they would like to see redemonstrated.
Hey, Derek. I don't see any questions in the Q&A area, so I think you're good to carry on with the session.
Awesome, thank you. All right, now from here, I would just want to toggle back over to the group chat really quick. For any reason, if I wanted to add more people to this group chat, or if I myself wanted to leave, the same way that I was able to add people, use that. And you see here, I can either add people or leave this chat altogether. You can also mute and hide chats that you no longer want notifications from, or if you're no longer a part of the group. For instance, I see that from yesterday, there was a quick Monday morning meeting. I don't think I need any more notifications for this. So I'm gonna click the three-dot ellipsis menu. I can mute. And this previous group chat that I had yesterday, I don't think I need to be, or I really don't need to see the new information that comes from it. So I can use the three-dot ellipsis menu and I can hide that chat. And now you see it's no longer a part of the left panel organization. So now I'm going to toggle over to the calendar icon here. When you click that, you notice that you're greeted by this calendar to where you can see the today view. This is where you can always, no matter if I were to select a different date, for example, maybe October 21st, it takes me to that work week. However, I can just simply click today to get back to the today view. Here, where it says work week, you can click the drop down to choose if you want to see your activity for the day, for the work week, or for the entire week, including weekends. I personally like the work week, so I'm going to keep that there. And again, because Teams uses your digital identity within Microsoft 365, whatever you have scheduled in your Outlook calendar will show here, and vice versa. Whatever you have scheduled here will show on your Outlook calendar. I'm going to use this to schedule a new meeting with me and some of my colleagues. And I have a couple of ways of doing that. So here you kind of see over to the side where we have 11 a.m. We have Tuesday, the 4th of October. I'm going to click this second square here to indicate the second half of the, so that'll be start at 11:30. If I click that blank space, it takes me to the new meeting screen. And I'm just going to close out of this. Or you can just simply hit at the top where it says new meeting. And you get that same meeting screen. So I'm going to add a title of this meeting and I'll call it Tuesday Team Huddle. I'm going to add some attendees that I need to be at this meeting with me. So I'm going to add some required attendees. And by me doing this, this is going to show up on their calendar. So I'll add Alex, Alan, and Deborah. However, I'm going to give Christy the option to show up to this meeting. You see here where you have the date and the time. So it's going to show that this meeting will start for us at 11:30. It will end at 12. But I can change that end time to 12:30, make it a 1-hour meeting. Or if this will be an all-day meeting, I can toggle this on. Turn that off. I'm going to keep that as a 1-hour meeting. Below here is where you can set to where if this will be a recurring meeting, you can keep it at does not repeat for only a one-time meeting. You can make this meeting every weekday, daily. You can customize it to make it a bi-weekly meeting. You can add a channel if this will only be a channel for a meeting and teams, which we'll again explore later when we get to the teams and channels. I'm going to leave that blank for now. And here you can share like some brief details about what the meeting will be about. So I'll just say quick Tuesday morning meeting for the team. Now, you won't be able to attach any files to share here when setting up this meeting, but after this meeting is set up, I'll show you a workaround. From here, what if I was unsure about any of my colleagues about their schedules to see if they would be able to join this 11:30 meeting? At the top, right here where it says details, next to it you have this handy scheduling assistant. So if I click on this, I just get a brief overview of my colleagues' schedules. So if I saw that there was like a meeting that they were a part of, I can actually click this vertical purple bar, drag it, and move it to a time that's more convenient for everybody. But it looks like everyone is pretty free, so I'm going to keep that at 11:30. I'm going to head back over to the meeting details. And this looks good to go. So I think I'm going to send this out and put this on my team members' calendars. To send it, I just use that send here at the top right. And now you see that meeting here is scheduled. We have that 1 hour time slot. And as promised, I'm going to show you a workaround on how to send a file before the meeting. So I can click here and you see the meeting details. There's this option here where you can chat with participants. I'm just going to click that there. That's going to open up a new meeting window here in my left panel organization, or meeting chat rather, excuse me. And I'll just say something like, hey team, we'll be joining shortly. Please review this Excel sheet before joining. And I'll use this to attach. And I'll just use this example Excel Contoso purchasing data spreadsheet. And I'm going to send that to my colleague. Now we have a new meeting chat. This will keep the chat threaded so you can use the meeting, the chat before the meeting, during the meeting, and even after the meeting. And to join this meeting that I've scheduled, I have a couple of ways of doing so. I can just simply click the join here at the top of the chat. Thank you, Christy. If you click join, you'll get that meeting screen, what we like to call a virtual dressing room, to where you can change your camera settings, preview what your camera looks like. Just going to click out of that. And you can also join the meeting by going back over to the calendar icon. Click where it says join here. You'll get that same virtual dressing room. Just going to full screen this. From here, you see the gear icon. So this is where you can modify your camera and audio settings. If you have any like secondary microphones or a Bluetooth speaker, you can modify that here. You can do that by the gear icon, or you can access that using this here. You get that same device settings window. Your noise suppression, I usually keep this on auto, but if you're in a high noise area, it's good to keep this on high. You can turn it low, or you can even turn it off altogether. Again, I'm going to keep this at auto. You see the banner here letting me know that Christy has started the meeting by being the first one in the meeting. I'm just going to click that out to remove that banner. And when I feel like I'm ready to go, I'm going to hit join now to join that meeting. And now you see this is because Teams is smart enough to know that I don't have a microphone with this virtual machine here. I'm just going to click that, exit out. And now you see what a meeting looks like. So this is an active meeting within Microsoft Teams. You see my colleagues' profile photos. If they had their cameras on, you'll see their videos here. You can hover over their profile photos, and again, you see their contact card. If I toggle here, this is what we like to call the action bar. If I toggle here, click on the people icon, you can see who's in the meeting. I notice that Deborah's not here with us, so I can request to join. Or I can invite someone else from our organization. I can just start typing in their names or so. Here next to the people icon, I'm going to click on the chat. So you notice here at the right, you see the message that I sent before the meeting. You see my colleagues were able to use the chat during the meeting, and I'll just send them a quick note. Thank you all for joining. You have those same capabilities where you can like a message. Next to the chat, you have the reactions, which are some of my favorites within the meeting, because here's where you can give a like to what someone said, you can love it, applaud it. And to keep the meetings organized, you can use the raise hand feature. So say, for example, you didn't want to interrupt a meeting that was going on, or interrupt a conversation that was going on, rather. You can click this here to raise your hand. What that's going to do, you notice here in the people icon, it shows the number. You have the number 1. I'm going to click on that. And if any one of my other colleagues were to raise their hand, it keeps it organized. So you see, I was able to raise my hand first. Alex raised his second. So we're just going to say that I asked the questions that I needed to ask. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to this reaction to lower my hand. And now I'm going to click back to people. You see that now Alex is next to go. He's number 1, and Christy is number 2. And as the organizer of this meeting, I can just go ahead from here and lower their hands. So I can click on the 3-dot ellipsis menu by Alan's name, lower hand. And now you see we have Christy and Alex with questions. So I'll just go ahead and lower both of their hands here. From here, you have the 3-dot ellipsis menu on the action bar. This is where you can maybe record this meeting if needed. So I'll click where it says start recording. It's going to just give my team members a little prompt that this meeting will be recorded. I can toggle here. This is where you can share your screen. I'm just going to click on that. And now you see where you can share either your entire screen or you can share just one window for privacy reasons. And you can toggle this on to include the computer sound for anything that you'll be sharing. I'm going to click out of that. And now from here, now I can either leave this meeting, and if I were to leave the meeting, what it's going to do is keep the meeting going for all of the attendees here. And it'll keep that meeting active until the last person leaves. Or as the organizer of this meeting, I can click this drop down and I can end the meeting for everyone. Before I do that, I just wanted to point out to where from here, you notice where I was to start the recording. I can do the same thing to stop it. Or if I just end the meeting for everyone, it's going to automatically stop that recording. So I'll just do that. It's going to ask me, am I sure I want to end this meeting? And I'll hit yes, end. I'm going to go back to that chat, back to that Tuesday huddle chat. And what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll pin it so I can easily access it. And I'll give my team a post-meeting message. Thank you all so much for your help. You are all appreciated. And you see how we can keep that meeting conversation going. So again, I know that was quite a bit of information that we just went over. I just want to take a quick pause, check in with my moderator to see if there were any questions in the chat that we can address or any redemonstration requests.
Hey, Derek, all the questions that have been asked in the Q&A have been answered, so you're good to continue.
Thanks, Rudy. All right, so now from here, what we're going to do is toggle over to the Teams section of Microsoft Teams, and where we're going to discuss the teams and channels. So teams are made up of channels, and channels organize content and conversations within the team. So like you see here, you have the design team and you have the general channel. And you'll notice that each team has a general channel that cannot be modified or removed. So from here, after clicking teams, so you see you have the design team, consultant marketing, the HR leadership team. There was one team that I don't see on my list that I would like to be a part of. I believe it was called the sales and marketing team. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the bottom where it says join or create a team here, and I'm going to click that. So from here, if you have a code, this is where you can join the team with that code from here. But I'm going to use this top right where it says search teams in this search bar here. I believe it was called the sales and marketing team, but I'm not exactly sure. So I'm just going to type in sales, enter, and see what we get. And there we are. So we have the sales and marketing team for my organization. And I'm going to join that team because it's a public team that my organization has. Now telling me that this team has been joined. And we join any new teams, those new teams are going to show up at the very bottom of the list. So now you see we have the sales and marketing team here that I'm now a part of. I have the general channel. This team has a finance channel, inventory. But you know what? It looks like there's not much a channel here for marketing. So what I'm going to do is actually create a channel for this team. I'll do that. You see the 3-dot ellipsis menu next to the team name here. And I'm going to choose add a channel. I'll call this one the marketing channel. Keep things simple. I'll leave the description blank because I think this is kind of self-explanatory. And I have the option to where I can choose if this will be a standard team to where everybody in the sales and marketing team will have access, or I can make it private for only specific team members from the sales and marketing team to have access. I want everyone on this team to have access, so I'm going to keep it at standard. And I'm going to choose add. And now we have the marketing channel here. And similar to chat, you can actually pin channels for you to easily access them. So I'm going to take this marketing channel, click the 3-dot ellipsis menu, and I'm going to pin that to the top. And then you see I have a pinned list for pinned channels. I'm going to go here. Now to interact with this channel here, I'm going to put some content. So I'm going to start a new conversation. And I'll just give them a quick announcement. I'll start off by saying, and similar to the chat, if you click the format button, you have a little bit more that you can do here in a channel. So you can start a conversation. In fact, that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to show both examples, but I'm going to do the conversation first. And I'll say, hey team, just give them a little note. Created this channel for the marketing team. And I'll just hit the send. So this is what a post, a conversation looks like in a channel. And you can have the team can reply, interact with it, and it keeps that particular conversation threaded. And I'm going to use this to show what an announcement looks like. So I'm going to click the format button where it says new conversation. I'm going to change that to announcement. And I'll just announcement example. I'll add a subhead saying this is an example. Message, hi team. Using this to show what an announcement looks like. And from here, you notice that you see there's a blue background, but I can modify that background, change the color. I can add a photo, change the background image if needed. And I'm going to share attach a file using that paper clip icon. Use my OneDrive. Oh, just cancel that. Let's try that once more. There we are. I'll attach the inventory. Then I'm going to use this to send. And now you see the difference between, so there's the conversation. You see the activity where Deborah was able to add a poll, so this, which I'll show later. And you see here my team can now view this file. If I were to click on this file and go into it, I can click here right here from Teams without even having to leave Teams. In fact, before I do that, let me just go back. And I'm going to just do another thread. Hey, can you all collab on this with me? And now I'm going to access that file from here. Again, without even having to leave Teams. Me and my colleagues can work on this together in real time. And because Teams is backed by SharePoint, I won't have to go to file or saving of this information. All the changes will be made and saved in real time. So I'll maybe change this from X1050 to X2222. If any one of my colleagues were to join me in the file, you'll see their icons here at the top. So here we have Alex. You see where it says Alex editing D17. I can go to that location. We have Deborah in the file as well. And if you just simply wanted to open it in the desktop version of Excel, you can do that here. I'm going to click on the three-dot ellipsis menu, and I can download this file. In fact, I'm just going to do that here. Download. I can add a comment from here. Like I'll maybe tag Alan and thank him for his help. Thank you. Send that there. And to get out of this file here, I can just simply close it. Takes me back. And if I feel that this is going to be a file that we're going to interact with often, I can take this and make it a tab. And now you have the channels tab line here. You have your posts, files that have been shared with the team. And lastly, what I wanted to cover, so that was just a brief overview we wanted to discuss with teams and channels. The last thing I wanted to discuss was the files icon in Teams. Now, files makes it easy for you to see and search for all of your Teams files all in one list. You and your colleagues can work on files together in real time, like the co-authoring we just did, or make updates now, and your colleagues can pick up where you left off at their convenience. It's important to know that files don't live in Teams. When you attach a file to a chat or a conversation, it is when you attach a file to a chat or upload it to a channel, the file is stored in the cloud. And files shared in the chat, these are stored in the OneDrive for Business. And files stored in Teams and channels, again, are stored in SharePoint. From Teams, you have direct access to both types of files. So you see here in the left panel organization, so these are the recent files I was able to interact with or shared with me. I have downloads. So you see I was able to download that inventory from 2 minutes ago. And if there was a file that I wasn't sure, like maybe there was something that said project, I'll just type in project at the search bar, enter, and I can filter it to be more specific and only look for files within Teams here. There we are. So you see files containing the word project. So the new product presentation here. Go back to the file. Or you can even download it from your recents list. Like I'll download maybe this team huddle recording from 11 minutes ago. From here, click the three-dot ellipsis menu and choose download. There we have it. Now it's in my download list. And I can open the downloads folder from here. And it'll open up the File Explorer in Windows. Okay, again, I know that was a lot of content we went over. I wanted to check in with my moderators to see if we have any questions in the chat or any redemonstration requests.
You are still all good, Derek. All the questions have been answered in the Q&A.
Awesome, thanks, Rudy. So I'm just going to quickly mention one of my favorites in Teams, the help icon. If I were to click on that, you can see to where you get topics about certain things. Maybe there was something about channels that I didn't fully understand, so I can type in channels, enter, and I get a list of documents here explaining what a channel is. Go to a web page. If I toggle over to the training section, you can access that from here as well, training. You see just quick videos about how to get the best out of Teams or what are certain features in Teams. You just see a quick video on how to use that feature. You can also use this to see what's new, suggest a feature in Teams, and give feedback. So if you'll just give me one quick second, I'm gonna readjust my screen. Okay, so let's recap what we went over today. So we learned how to navigate Microsoft Teams. We learned how to send a chat message. We now, I hope, understand Teams and channels. And we learned how to join and create a meeting. And we learned how to find our files in Teams. So I wanted to mention again that this training session has been recorded, and you'll be able to rewatch it again for 90 days using the same link that you used to join us today. My moderators will be posting a link to a survey in the Q&A, and we would love for you to rate us on not exactly on how you feel about Microsoft Teams, but how we did during the session, how I did as your presenter for the session, and how my moderators did as your moderators for the session. We certainly hope for that 10 rating. And if you didn't rate us 10, there is a section to explain why you rated how you did. Now, if there are no more questions, we can end the session here and give you some of your time back. But again, I wanted to take a quick pause, check in with my moderators to see if there were any questions or last-minute questions that came up in the chat.
Nope, nothing came up, Derek. You're still all good.
Thanks, Rudy. All right, so with that, I would want to wish everyone a great day. On behalf of myself and Microsoft, we want to thank you for joining us today. And again, take care.